the truth is considered hate speech. The truth about the Bible, the truth about what the Bible really says.
Dr. Robert Oscar Lopez was a tenured professor of American literature at California State University at Northridge in the greater Los Angeles area. He had been involved as a young person in the homosexual movement.
My mother was gay, so she raised me while she was in a relationship with the same woman from the time I was a baby to the time that I was 19. And at that point my mother died. So I had this experience of growing up in what you could call a gay home in the 1970s and 1980s when that was unheard of. Nobody really even spoke about it. And then I started in with the gay lifestyle at age 13 and I was pretty active in it. But then I fell in love with a woman when I was 28 and I came to Christ soon after that, and so I've been married and I have 2 kids. I've been married since 2001. So I had this very intense life experience that strikes at a lot of issues that are very hot topics right now. It kind of, my life disproves the born gay idea, the idea that people are born gay and can't change, and then my life disproves the idea that gay parenting is totally fine. So I'm sort of a walking narrative bomb, and that was how I experienced a lot of my life. I kept very quiet after meeting my wife. I didn't speak publicly about any of these issues, but I had a religious experience around 2008 where I really felt the Lord coming to me and telling me, you know, I brought you out of a really dark situation, and now you have to pay me back.
And when he spoke out, Dr. Lopez learned just how tolerant are what we could call the shock troops of tolerance.
And it became really pertinent, really timely in 2012 when the debate about gay parenting heated up, and I published my first paper just openly discussing all of this. And after that, the floodgates opened, I think within about 4 hours of the publication of my essay on public discourse. There were well over 40 officials in California State University who were contacted, and people were demanding investigations, they were demanding my dismissal, they were demanding disciplinary proceedings, all of these different things because they said that it was hate speech. I'm on all of these different watch lists. I'm on a list by GLAAD called the Commentator Accountability Project. I'm on a list by the Human Rights Campaign called the Export of Hate. I'm on a list from the Southern Poverty Law Center, or at least they profiled me. Their goal is complete annihilation of the enemy, and that's basically what I experienced. It's like having every single weapon thrown at you in the span of this short period of time. Every single day I would set foot on the campus. There was a professor who sent me hot links to pornography in the email. I had things vandalized on my door, notes slipped under my door, obscene messages on my phone. The students started making up stories about me. I was under constant investigation. The administration turned against me. My colleagues all either betrayed me or they just sort of stood back and they didn't say anything. So, and the Christians that were on campus were very quiet about everything. They didn't want any of this conflict to draw them in. So I was completely, utterly alone at my job. I think these are very satanic tactics, quite frankly. I think these are very dark tactics. And that's what I try to take away as a life lesson is I never want to ever, I don't want anyone, even someone I disagree with, I never want that person to feel what I went through, and I think that's what I took away from it.
The Lord provided a teaching post for him at a Southern Baptist seminary. Despite all the conflict and the loss of his university professorship and his concerns about the state of college education today, Dr. Robert Oscar Lopez is happy to be saved and to be ever transformed through Christ.
I find servitude to God absolutely wonderful. It's bliss. It makes me so happy. I think the other option would be to be enslaved by my passions.